In this podcast episode, Lord Miles shares his story of being captured by the Taliban and his experiences traveling to various conflict zones around the world. He opens up about his challenging upbringing, his journey to becoming a well-known figure in the travel vlogging space, and the risks and rewards of his unconventional lifestyle. Miles grew up in Birmingham, a city known for its rough and dangerous reputation. He experienced homelessness at a young age and had a difficult family life, which led him to become more risk-taking and adventurous as he got older. Despite his challenging upbringing, Miles excelled in school and eventually went on to study physics at university. After university, Miles found himself at a crossroads. He had received a lucrative job offer in investment banking, but he ultimately decided to pursue a different path. He chose to travel the world and document his experiences, which led him to become famous for his travel vlogs and unique storytelling style. One of Miles' most notable experiences was being in Kabul, Afghanistan, during the fall of the city to the Taliban. He had booked his trip to Afghanistan months in advance, not knowing that the country would soon be taken over by the Taliban. Despite the chaos and danger, Miles found himself in the midst of a historic event and documented his experiences through vlogs and social media posts. Miles describes his initial fascination with Afghanistan, citing his curiosity about the country's government, culture, and business opportunities. He explains that his interest in Afghanistan stemmed from a desire to explore new territories, engage in business ventures, and provide honest journalism about the country. However, his experience took a dramatic turn when he was detained by the Taliban and held captive for 8 months. He describes his initial arrest by the Taliban and the subsequent interrogation process. He explains that he was accused of being a spy, along with 2 other British men who were also arrested. Miles emphasizes the positive treatment he received from the Taliban during his captivity. He describes being held in a guest house and having regular access to food, water, and entertainment. He also highlights the cordial relationships he developed with some of the Taliban members, who treated him with respect and even offered him opportunities for business and future collaboration. One of the most striking aspects of Miles' story is his ability to form connections with the Taliban, despite the circumstances. He recounts how he befriended some of the members and even engaged in discussions about business opportunities and future collaborations. This demonstrates his resilience and adaptability in a challenging and potentially dangerous situation. Miles also addresses the differences between the Taliban and ISIS, emphasizing the Taliban's more liberal and accommodating approach compared to the extremist ideology of ISIS. He explains that the Taliban were more open to religious diversity and even offered him a Bible and prayer beads, while ISIS members would have reacted with hostility to his Catholic beliefs. In addition to his experiences with the Taliban, Miles discusses his interactions with the British government and the process of his eventual release. He explains that the British government debriefed him and reviewed his financial records to ensure that he was not a spy. Despite the potential suspicions surrounding his interactions with the Taliban, Miles maintains that he was able to demonstrate his innocence and was ultimately released without any further complications. He goes on to share his candid portrayal of the Afghan people and their struggles. He emphasizes the impact of the war on the country's infrastructure, economy, and population, shedding light on the challenges faced by the Afghan people. Miles also highlights the complexities of the political and economic landscape in Afghanistan, including the influence of foreign powers and the exploitation of the country's resources. Miles also discusses the challenges of traveling to conflict zones and obtaining visas for countries like Libya and North Korea. He highlights the red tape and bureaucracy involved in obtaining visas for these countries, as well as the risks and rewards of traveling to such dangerous places. One of the key takeaways from the podcast is Miles's resilience and determination to continue his adventurous travels despite the risks involved. He shares his plans to return to Afghanistan and visit the Chinese-Afghan border, a place that has not been visited since 1947. He also talks about his intention to travel to a secret military base above the Arctic Circle and traverse the treacherous Darien Gap, a 500-mile stretch of jungle known for its dangers. Miles highlights the challenges he faces as a public figure with a large following on social media. He discusses the pressures of dealing with the press and the need to be cautious about the people he befriends, as some may have ulterior motives. He also shares his experiences with the press and how he has used his knowledge and connections to navigate difficult situations. In addition to his adventurous spirit, Miles also discusses his plans for the future, including potential collaborations with producers for limited Netflix series and the growth of his social media presence.